We got this from Scott Galloway. He said, Republicans, of 1/4 of Republicans think all drag shows should be banned. Living in another century, question mark? Are you referring to yourself, sir? I don't know what, or another dimension. I am not surprised that there are a quarter of Republicans saying no drag shows. That surprises me in no way. What is it referring to, the 90s or something? What other century? But let me show you how crazy this poll is. So here's what it says. Who should be allowed to attend drag shows? The purple says they should be allowed for everyone. The blue is restricted to people 18 and older. And there's not sure. And then for orange, they should be banned. Among all U.S. adult citizens, 25% say children should be allowed to attend. 50% say 18 and up only. 12% are not sure. And 14% say ban it all. Now, among Democrats, around 40% of Democrats think children should be allowed to attend sex shows. That's what it is. Drag is basically LGBT burlesque. You wouldn't bring a kid to a go-go dancer club. You wouldn't bring your kid to a burlesque show. That's what they're saying. However, 40% of Democrats, because it's 39 who say should have kids, 40% of Democrats say 18 and up only. This is the popular position.
Yeah.
In fact, 8% of Democrats want it banned for everyone. Okay, let me stress that again. 8% of Democrats are like, no drag shows allowed for anyone. Who are those Democrats? I got to ask you.
I was going to say, like, where are they? That's like a magical unicorn of a person. I guess, like old blue dog Democrats that still believe in gun rights?
And then you have among independents, it reflects basically what you see among all U.S. adults. 26% say kids should be allowed to attend sex shows. 52% think it should be 18 and up. And 9% say that it should be banned outright. And among Republicans, this one is also the unicorn. This has got to be the margin of error. 8% of Republicans think children should be allowed to attend sex shows. 58% of Republicans say 18 and up only. 25% of Republicans say banned outright. Look at that divide. Nearly 4 in 10 Democrats think children should be allowed to attend sex shows. If that persists, I just kind of think Democrats probably won't be a political party for a lot longer because they're at odds with the general public to a great degree. And independent voters, I think regular people, you show them what's going on in these videos. First of all, they don't believe it. I was talking to people about that video of the guy pulling the baloney out of his crotch with a zipper and the gay men thrusting into each other. I was talking to a friend and I was like, yeah, but look, we're not talking about like just someone in a costume reading a book. We're talking about children having a dude in a thong perform like a striptease dance. Or like on Bill Maher, when it was Winsome Sears from Virginia, Lieutenant Governor, saying like, look, it's about what parents want their kids to be involved, like be or not be involved in. She's like, I don't want my kid getting a lap dance from a drag queen. And then Bill Maher goes, well, okay, they're reading books. I don't think they're giving lap dances. And she goes, yes, they are. It's like, well, I must have missed this. And she goes, Bill,
you need to read more.
You need to read more.
Yeah, okay.
And then everyone laughs because Bill Maher doesn't read the news. You show that to the average person, like you were saying about sanity, and they're going to be like, well, I didn't know I was supporting that. Yeah, in North Carolina, a drag queen gave a lap dance to a child. And we got, Ian bought the book Genderqueer. Not even conservatives are reading that book, and they really should. That's funny. Conservatives are like, I've seen enough. I know it's bad. Oh, you don't even know the half of it. You should read it. So I think regular people are probably going to see this and just, if we can show them, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm out.
And the hard part is then getting them out of their algorithm, because their algorithm is only going to show them what they want to be seeing. So they're not going to be seeing any of that content on their social media platforms or anywhere. A lot of the people, when I would explain that these things were going on, would be like, that sounds ridiculous. I don't know if that's actually happening.
Nobody believes.
No, they don't
When
believe
you
it.
tell people what like the cutting edge of leftist thought is, people are like, no. Every single time I tell any average kind of like Democrat person, oh, this is what's coming out of sociology departments right now. This is the cutting edge of leftist thought. They're like, no way. No one will ever say that. No one will believe it. No.
We really want to get Bill Maher on this show. And there's been conversations recently about me going on Bill Maher's show. Bill Maher's going to be in D.C. in 5 days. He's doing a stand-up. He's doing stand-up at the MGM National Harbor. And that's on a Saturday. And I'm just thinking, a Friday night, it's the perfect opportunity to promote your show, Bill. Should have you on the show. No, I'm a big fan of Bill Maher speaking out against the stuff he's learning about. I just wish with his platform he knew more. And I think it would be one of the most epic conversations to be sitting here with him, because we have these big monitors. And when he's like, I don't know about them giving lap dances, I'm like, oh, Bill, let me pull the video up for you and press play. And then we'll just play it right here and he'll watch it and he'll be like, okay, you're right.
You know, I always ask the people who are in support of children being able to go to drag shows, and they're like, oh, it's educational. What are they learning? Are they learning life skills to get naked and twerk in front of other children? Like, what is beneficial for a child to go there? It's literally a show that it's about explicit, over-the-top sexual actions.
It's burlesque. It's like it's sexualized comedy. It's a clown show, I guess.
The fact that it's always sexualized. Like there's no drag show that isn't sexualized. So people that make the argument, oh, kids really should be able to get into this. I don't understand how they justify it because of the fact that it is clearly sexualized.
They justify it by saying it's teaching them about inclusion. That it's teaching them that people with alternative lifestyles exist and they're not bad people. Therefore, you can send your kids to these shows and nothing's going to happen to them. It's fine. It's about inclusion.
That's unacceptable because it's unacceptable to send your kids to Chippendales or to the strip club with the boobies.
I'm giving you but to them, they don't think past the first stage of the argument.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
They're like, oh, it is about inclusion.
How much do you want to bet Bill Maher's never seen the video of the child strippers?
It's not going to lick itself sign on the wall.
No. When that little boy was ripping his clothing off on stage and at a gay bar while they handed money to him. I bet he's never seen it.
He probably never.
And that one's from like 2018.
Yeah.
Like this stuff's been going on for a long time. And the problem is specifically people like Bill Maher don't read the news. They're like all of this stuff is happening around the country and obviously corporate press covers up. I was reading about the Budweiser story in the Washington Post, and they lied about everything. Surprise, surprise. They said the boycott's not clear if there's been any impact at all, and it's like Anheuser-Busch put out a commercial and issued a statement. Clearly, something's got them worried, and their stock has gone down. And they're like, well, it's not clear. It's like, okay, that's an argument, but not a news report. You can argue since the controversy started, Anheuser-Busch stock has dropped by 5 points or whatever. But they don't mention that. They say, and then they said the whole controversy started over a single can of beer, a promo can with Dylan Mulvaney on it. And I was like, yeah, and the video of Dylan Mulvaney drinking Bud Light, being a brand ambassador and dancing, and the estimates that Dylan received $50K or whatever for doing it. I don't know if that's true or whatever, but people are upset that Budweiser in any way supported this person. It's not about a single can of beer, but they need to lie, diminish, and downplay so they can keep these people trapped in a box. And unfortunately, people like Bill Maher, he doesn't read the news.
The Nike videos were worse. Those were actually looks like he's making fun of women.
They all
He always is.
The Nike ones to me were even more ridiculous.
And I always really want to stress this too. Dylan Mulvaney is not trans. Like you can't just say what if Donald Trump came out right now and was like, my fellow Americans, I am now a woman. I am the first female president. Donna Trump. And they would say, no, he's not. He's lying, right?
Yep.
So why? Look, simply put, they would say Donald Trump is lying. He's not trans. There's no way anyone would believe that if Trump came out as trans, anyone would support him.
And even if he actually was legit, was like, no, I've been hiding this all my life, and he really believed it, they would still say, no, you're not. They would deny forever, no matter what.
So why should I assume or just give that benefit of the doubt to someone like Dylan Mulvaney, who, I'm going to say it again, hiking heels? Putting on high heels in the forest is not something that women or trans people do. It was a clown show comedy performance intended to mock. Mm-hmm. It was literally making fun of women. It was an adult male dressing like a woman, claiming to be a girl, putting on high heels and running through the woods and then getting scared of a bug. That is like the most offensive woman face performance you could do.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say this is essentially blackface for womanhood. And I've seen this clip before where Dylan was saying how this initially started as either comedy or satire. I can't remember the exact word he used, but he has known from the beginning that this was not a serious thing, but he's turned it into a serious thing because it's become so profitable. And the algorithm on TikTok is so aggressive with it because I don't follow Dylan. I've never liked a single video of Dylan's. I've never saved or commented on a video of Dylan's, but I will get notifications on my phone from TikTok saying that Dylan Mulvaney just posted a new video.
Whoa.
And I have screenshots of it too. And because of that, there's going to be an entire generation of people growing up that are going to have mental health crisis, all because of Dylan Mulvaney's rise to stardom.
This is Elsa Gate 2.0. That's why I describe it as such. That the algorithm just picks things props them up, and they get weirder and crazier. So it's not just that it sees what you like and then makes more of it. It's that it doesn't know what the difference is between what you like and something with similar words in it. So on YouTube, something interesting happened where if somebody made a video about immigration, YouTube's algorithm does not know if you're for or against immigration. All it knows is the title said the word immigration in it. So who does it send it to? People who are for immigration or against immigration? It doesn't know. So with someone like Dylan Mulvaney, what happens is there are some things that people will click thumbs up on. It doesn't know the difference between Dylan Mulvaney, who's pretending and mocking and insulting trans people, and say like an actual trans person making a real argument. Thus, Dylan Mulvaney's outrageous shenanigans, and the one big important component is the incrementation. Day 1, day 2, day 3. That creates this effect in people where they need resolution, so they always come back to see the next number. It was perfect algorithmic manipulation, and I think Dylan Mulvaney knew exactly what he was doing. And I will stress it again. I've talked to some. I'm not going to name the individuals, but we've had the conversation with some of our guests on the show who are trans, who said there's clear signs to them that Dylan Mulvaney is not trans based on the procedures and the things that Dylan has done that trans people don't do, and or that trans people would have done, and certain things Dylan Mulvaney does that trans people would not do. There have been references to. I'll give you an example. Actually, when Dylan Mulvaney made the video and talked about how bulges exist and women have bulges, what was told to me, and maybe this is just the opinion of a couple trans women, is that a video like that would cause them severe anxiety by triggering gender dysphoria. The idea of making a video and pointing to your junk and saying, look at my junk, like Dylan Mulvaney did, is the inverse of what someone with a body dysmorphic disorder would do. Think about a person who's anorexic. Do you think an anorexic person would make a video where they're like, look at my rolls, it's okay that I have rolls, I'm so fat, everybody look how fat I am, look at this, and pinch themselves? No, they do the opposite. They're terrified of looking fat to the point where they starve themselves to death. So if Dylan Mulvaney actually fit the descriptor as most people, like as somebody with dysmorphia, they wouldn't be making videos where they sing about having a bulge in their pants. It is totally fake. There you go.
I never thought about it that way, but it makes sense. It's because gender dysphoria is a mental illness. I can't emphasize that enough. So for Dylan to be so glorifying in it, it's problematic, but it also just adds to the culture of mental illness overall, because I've noticed that anxiety and depression have become such a trend, and even ADHD. There's people who have never been diagnosed with any of those in their lives. So those are 3 very real conditions. Mm-hmm. But now it's like, to fit in, you have to have some kind of mental illness. I've even had people brag about like, oh yeah, I'm so bipolar. Haha. I'm like, is that funny?
Yeah,
or like the DID people who say that they have like numerous personalities inside themselves, and they're talking about operating as a system. Basically, oh, this part of my system is whatever and whatever. It is literally a trend. It's literally like a TikTok thing, and people post about it all the time.
Same thing with Tourette's. Tourette's is becoming a trend.
Yeah.
Yep. Part of it is also like in a culture now where everyone's looking for something that makes them special or unique. That's something that they feel like gives them some type of unique identifier, and it's just been turned into a weird thing through social media.
You know, it used to be that if you wanted to be famous or known about, you had to do something notable. So what you'd get is, you know, people would turn on the radio or the TV and they'd see actors. And then people were like, oh, I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. I've gone through so much of this too. I've had people hit me up and be like, you know, back when I worked at Vice and I was traveling around, I had so many people be like, oh, I really want to do what you do. Oh boy. And then once they actually see what it involves, like, oh, I don't do that. Like, that's not what I was talking about. I want to be on camera and famous. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm on camera because I like traveling and talking to people and learning about what's going on in these places. I'm not on camera because I want to be on camera. That's like paradoxical. Yep. It's like you get on camera for doing a thing, not just being on camera. And so then sure enough, these people immediately abandon the line of work and they never want it in the first place. Mm-hmm. People are just trying to do whatever they can to get attention.
I think that it's surprising to me that there are so many people that get behind Dylan as Dylan, for Dylan being a trans person. I really feel like there should be more people that would just be like, that is not a trans person. That is a person just looking to be famous. That's just hopping on the bandwagon.
Well, the way I described it is like that we're coming to the point where there's different kinds of transgender. There's gender dysphoric, people who look in the mirror and feel a disconnect between their body and their biological sex, and that triggers depression and things like that. And that is the traditional view of gender dysphoria or transgenderism. But then you have what's called AGP and AAP, autogynephilia and autoandrophilia. These are individuals like the person who wrote Genderqueer, for instance. We have the book right there. It's a biological female who is aroused at the thought of being male, and so wants other people to call them male because it stimulates them, which is more kink and fetish stuff. But then you have the third chapter, which is Dylan Mulvaney, who is not trans in any sense. I think it was Michael Malice who said that he thinks it's a fetish act, like AGP, and I'm like, no, it's different. It's like, I think Leah Thomas, NCAA swimmer.
Yeah.
There was an article talking about how
she was talking in the dress or in the
Leah Thomas has a bunch
room.
of posts on talking about what they call AGP, which is like, it's a kink, it's a fetish, it's not gender dysphoria. But Dylan Mulvaney isn't doing that. Dylan Mulvaney isn't dysphoric, as I referenced with the video about singing about having a bulge. A person who is dysphoric doesn't want that. So Dylan Mulvaney being proud and saying it's okay and look at my junk is like, are you just making fun of trans people? You're clearly not dysphoric. So Dylan Mulvaney's version of trans is, it makes me famous. And they're promoting that to kids. I'll wrap up. That's why I think the Budweiser boycott is so important, because they didn't come out in support of the LGBT community. They came out and I describe it as, imagine if Budweiser came out and sponsored an old school minstrel show of like a bunch of dudes in blackface being as racist as possible. And I'm like, that's basically what I see with Dylan Mulvaney. Insulting and mocking trans people and women at the same time to an extreme degree. And then Whoopi Goldberg and The View and all these other institutions coming out and defending it.
That's the same thing that I said to a friend of mine. I made a remark about the Anheuser-Busch comment, and I said, this means keep applying pressure. And he objected to it. And I was just like, look, Dylan is not a trans person that is helping trans people in any way. The only thing he's doing is harming people. He's not making anyone feel bad feel in any way sympathetic towards trans people, whether they're gender dysphoric or not. And I don't think that we should entertain AGP at all. Like, I don't want to play along with your kink.
Right.
Sorry.
But look at all the Pride Parade events where they have like men with dog masks on.
Yeah, the whole month should just be called kink, and it should.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
When we had, I think Destiny, Omni-Liberal, when we were talking about Ron DeSantis and the books that were being disallowed, they say it's a book ban. Yeah, they're banning porn.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, this looks like sex education. And I'm like, dude, that's a butt plug. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, that's not sex education. That's kink education.
Yeah. That is the most ridiculous cope that I've ever heard come out of Destiny ever. Like the idea that it's acceptable to teach people under 18 how butt plugs work. Give me a friggin'
Children
break.
in schools
That
under
is
the guise of sex ed.
I mean, that is something I'll violate TOS if I keep going on. Like, seriously.
We'll save it for the members only show, which is coming up in half an hour. But could you imagine how funny it would be? I will say this.
I agree, man.
I will be in no way surprised at all if, like, in 1 year's time, Dylan Mulvaney uploads a video of him wearing a suit and tie with a deeper voice saying, "Hey, everybody, I just want to let you know the whole thing was a bit to prove how insane all of you are. I'm a conservative Christian, have been the whole time." And then have them just be like, huh? Like, the idea that you could increasingly increment the insanity, the insults, the degradation, and you would keep supporting it proves the point.
It's
so, like,
hilarious.
You don't see with Dylan Mulvaney a calm, rational person saying, we just want to live. Like, that's the argument they like to make. No, Dylan Mulvaney, like, does the most shockingly offensive things possible, the most insulting ways possible. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.